Good day, everyone. My name is Precious Temitope Adeyinka, and I'm going to be discussing on designing an inquiry-based learning curriculum, which is to promote critical thinking in AP Biology and Anatomy for high school. Okay, and in this presentation, I will discuss the theoretical principles behind inquiry-based curriculum design, how to use this approach in the biology and anatomy classroom, and also how to integrate technology, potential difficulties, and suggestion for incorporating approach into science subject. And I'll be focusing on biology and anatomy curriculum. So the introduction. In the introduction, we are going to be looking at inquiry-based learning as a learner-centered approach. It is a learner-centered approach, and what it does is that it promotes students to investigate, question, and it helps them to analyze the evidence to gain their own understanding. As an active learning process, this is used to develop scientific reasoning, critical thinking, and practical problem solving in science subjects, especially in AP Biology and Anatomy classes, in which I focus majorly on. Then when we look at understanding the curriculum design is a planning of learning outcome, teaching strategies, learning activities, and assessment to fulfill educational goals. In inquiry-based learning curriculum, it is structured around scientific investigation and questioning rather than lecturing the student. With this approach, science students, especially my biology and anatomy students or any other science students across the world, can investigate. They'll be eager to try out things and discuss issues and draw attention to the fact that it helps them to construct knowledge on their own via lab experiments, writing their own analysis, and communication skills. Let's take a look at theoretical foundation. What does educational theorists have to say? Inquiry-based learning is grounded on a learner-centered approach which engages students to actively build their own knowledge as they investigate and reflect. So the emphasis is not on knowledge being learned, but to use biological question as the basis for investigations and evidence evaluation. Theorists also discovered that inquiry-based learning has a significant efficacy in influencing critical thinking skills of biology students. Collaborative investigations also promote teamwork, and also it helps them to gain a deeper insight into the concept of complex of the subject, training my students for future career in science field and also healthcare professions. Now, let's take a look at selected instructional design approach. The selected instructional design approach is inquiry-based learning where teaching is planned around the relevant question and investigation in science. The students make hypotheses, they design experiments, they analyze data, they share scientific information and laboratory investigation and case-based learning. They give them laboratory and real-world opportunities to apply in biological knowledge. So all of this help them to reflect and to foster and reflect activities which draw their attention to scientific knowledge and skills that is necessary for them within the educational system and even in the outside world. Let's take a look at application to practice. What do we mean by application to practice? The first step of implementing inquiry-based learning is to plan lessons to focus on science, inquiry, and reasoning from evidence. The students will engage in authentic biological questions and in laboratory experiments. They will collaborate and they will have guided discussions and guided inquiry based on the results of the study conducted by SARI in 2021. It is concluded that guided inquiry has a positive effect against the student creative thinking and cognitive learning achievement. To help students learn, teachers pose questions and invite reflections, Give constructive feedback instead of giving just the answers. So a continuous course assessment strategy can be implemented that not only monitors students' progress, but also assist the building of inquiry skills, scientific reasoning, and conceptual understanding. Application in practice. Inquiry-based learning will allow students to practically apply their understanding of biology within a real concept or context using practical inquiry. For example, in AP biology and anatomy, okay, it gives students opportunity to explore physiology, interpret lab data, to relate to real world example using case study, okay, and also it helps them to improve in problem solving skills. Let's now look at the use of technology in all of this. Where is the use of technology relevant? The use of technology greatly improves this by offering interactive material. It offers interactive material to help the student carry out their scientific investigation and are strongly recommended in inquiry-based learning. Students can explore more using this technology while they make researches, while they question in their classrooms and even outside the classroom. Now let's take a look at the critical reflection implication to practice. There are numerous educational benefits to implementing inquiry-based learning, along with some implementation challenges. We have no doubt about that. It first in the benefits, it helps to develop critical thinking, reasoning, and promote active involvement. And also, rather than using the traditional teaching, difficult questions can also difficult questions or difficult challenges can also be solved using the input of technology. So this is very important, and this is very useful for the student to implement the technology into their study. Now let's look at inquiry-based learning in high school. In inquiry-based learning in high school, students are learning to conduct scientific research on their own, whereby it helps them in future in case they want to practice or do any profession related to healthcare and to lifelong learners. Learning transferable skills in addition to facts. Pupils develop their analytical, scientific communication, and evidence-based decision using this method. Innovative teaching strategy is complemented by innovative teaching practices. This enhances the student engagement and provide personalized learning for them. Let's move on to the next slide, where we have the recommendations and the conclusion. The goal of this presentation and this project is to get most of our inquiry-based learning, and that means structured lesson should be made around real-life questioning that is related to the subject that anyone is teaching, but particularly the one I'm concentrating on is biology. Real-life lab investigation will help them a lot, and real-life collaborative learning activities which will help them to make more inquiry. So on the takeaway of it, to conclude, Learner Center is replaced by an active learning experience, which is an inquiry-based learning. Thank you for listening, and I hope you do enjoy this presentation. Here are the references in case you want to refer to the words or to the theorists that have said one or two things about this. Thank you.